Is DeAndre be able to play?
We don't know. You know, I mean, he tried to go a little bit today. It'll be a wait and see. Actually, after you try to go a little bit, that next day really is a determining day for you. So, you know, everybody, if you have 2 weeks on an injury like that, then you can kind of let it totally, take its time. But when you're trying to get a guy back with, 3 weeks, 4 weeks left in your year, that next day after a sprain like that will kind of determine. So we'll see how much soreness he has, and then they'll make a decision.
Does that change your thinking at all when you approach
Loyola? I mean, it changed my thinking in terms of how we're going to play them. Is that what you mean? Miko's obviously did a good job the other night. He's probably as tested a backup as you could possibly have. So our feeling would be that if he cannot go, then Vance would start, and then Miko would be that first sub in the guard spot off the bench in that spot.
What's the morale right now, Jerry? I mean, disappointing home series, lose 3 or 4. I mean, where do you think this team is?
We're fine. And I think that's kind of a relevant term. My spirits aren't broken or low. I know the kids are working hard. Obviously, we're disappointed, and obviously you can't. There's no redos in basketball. Sometimes you get a redo in life, but when that horn starts and that horn ends, there's no redos. And we're working hard to get better, and I think we are. I think we'll keep on playing good basketball at times, and there's little things in the game of basketball that are absolute musts, and making foul shots and not turning the ball over, and those things are absolutes. And if you don't do those things, then you're not going to have a chance to win. And we need to do those things better.
Coach, you faced these two teams. It wasn't long ago, just a few weeks ago, that you faced them. A quick turnaround against them. How important is this road trip for you?
Chad, a game's a game. At this stage of our, basketball life and year, it's important to play every game like it's your last. We're not going into any of the game. We didn't do it last week. We won't do it this week. That, we know what's at stake. We're still fighting for a home playoff game, and we're not. We're more focusing on making foul shots and shooting 500 of those today, and making jump shots and defending the post, and those other kind of things. Like I've shared with you before. I don't deal in that world. The world I deal with is the 2.5 hours I just had in practice, and we worked pretty hard today. And our guys' spirits were really good, and that's what mattered to me.
Sure. How has Loyola changed at all, or haven't they changed?
I think they're the same group. I think those like us. I think they've played a lot of guys this year, and I know a lot of people will say that that's a kind of a strength, where you can have a deep bench and those kind of things. But I think when you're playing a lot of guys, I think that means that things aren't going great and that you're looking for answers. And I think that they're similar to us. I think that they've, if you look at their minutes, they're a lot like ours. A lot of guys are getting a lot of minutes. And again, I think that's a good thing for your depth and team morale, that everybody's getting playing time. But I'm not sure that that's ever an equal to good basketball. I don't know if you're following, the point I'm trying to make there, but when you're looking and playing a lot of guys, a lot of minutes, you're usually looking for answers instead of having answers, and that's where we're at, and I think they're in a very similar situation. You look at their lineup, and one guy one night got 24, and the next night he got 8, and that night one kid got 27, and the next night he got 11. Well, you're just, you as a coach, you're searching, and that's exactly, that's exactly where we've been also.
Still, I'm not in no way a mathematician, but a couple of wins, you're sitting in that 6th spot, maybe.
You know what I mean? And again, I think in some regards, as I look back on my time, might be one of the most frustrating years that I've had because of the fact that we've been so close and we haven't been able to close it. And you give us, Mike Warnicki is the staff mathematician in our staff, and he says, Coach, we give us 7 different possessions, and we've got 10 wins or 11 wins, and again, I hold no solace in that. It is what it is. I mean, we are where we are, and the great thing about doing this for 34 years is that you love basketball and you love your job, and we certainly would love to have a lot more wins, but that's not going to indicate or dictate to me how much I love basketball and how much I love my job. So we keep on plugging, working hard, and that's what we're going to go with.
Coach, do you stress that to those guys that, hey, it was just a couple of possessions between a whole different thing? We have a lot of time to kind of peak as we head towards postseason.
Yeah, I mean, they know it. I mean, it's something that's talked to them about. But again, Chad, it's a fine line. Do you talk about it too much? You know what I mean? And then they feel pressure to perform more, or you kind of mention it in a drive-by way and say, so that they kind of get a little confidence out of it. And it's the same thing with free throw shooting. Do you go up and shoot 500 free throws and tell them, we got to make them, or do you go up and shoot your normal amount and say, kind of drive by, it's important, we got to start doing this. I mean, it's, when you're dealing with the mind, and I'm not talking about young people, anybody's, mind's fried. I mean, so it's a tough gig, and the bottom line to it is all you can do is work hard. All you can do is keep on putting your right foot in front of your left, and seeing the positive and seeing that you got these guys back, and they're competitive and they're working hard. And yeah, your junior college kids maybe are hitting a little bit of a wall right now because of the physicalness of this league, and those are all things that you can build and change and really build towards, I think, a very, very positive future.
Jerry, is the missed free throws the most disappointing?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. There's not a coach in the country that's worth his salt that looks at that and says that that's not the most hurtful thing that happens to you in the course of a ball game, because it's a turnover. We mark them as turnovers when you don't get anything out of that possession. And before I got here, I don't think I ever had a team shoot under 72. So, there's a lot of years I've had coaching where, we've never been into the 60s. So, we're not, we're doing pressure foul shooting. Can't get a drink unless they make, 1-on-1. There's a lot of all the little tricks that I've had with 34 years. We've thrown them out there. And it's what makes you get out of bed in the morning and be excited about going to work, trying to change some positive things for you.
Going to show them tape of Green Bay last night. Were they 32 or 35?
Yeah.
Nice call, by the way. You predicted that.
Yeah. And again, like I said, it's a fine line. We beat UIC at home. We were 26 for 28. So we know that it's there, and I think there's 2 factors. You got to get the right guys at the line. As you see, we sit around and think about this stuff. We're not rolling around saying, what the heck, let's go shoot out the hip today. I spend way, way too much time. No life, that's what I got.